What is scope ambiguity in language usage? Have you ever read a sentence and thought, wait, what does that really mean? That puzzling feeling often comes from something called scope ambiguity. So, what exactly is scope ambiguity in language usage? Let's break it down in a simple way. Scope ambiguity happens when a sentence has multiple elements, like quantifiers or negations, that can influence the meaning in different ways. This leads to multiple interpretations without changing the sentence's structure. It's all about how parts of a sentence relate to each other, rather than the meanings of the individual words. For example, take the sentence, "Every child likes a book." This sentence can mean two things. One interpretation is that all children like the same book. The other is that each child likes a different book. The confusion arises from which part of the sentence has a wider influence. Scope ambiguity is common with words like every, some, and even negations. Consider the sentence, John thinks that he has visited every state. Here, the ambiguity is whether John thinks about each state one by one or about all states as a group. Understanding scope ambiguity is important because it affects how we construct and interpret meaning in language. Sometimes, resolving this ambiguity requires more context or rephrasing. For instance, saying each student owns two cars is clearer than the two students together own two cars. In everyday language, scope ambiguity can make sentences tricky or lead to different interpretations by different people. This highlights the need for careful sentence construction and awareness of how quantifiers and modifiers work together. Scope ambiguity is significant in fields like linguistics, logic, law, and computer science, where precise meaning is essential. It helps us understand why some sentences can be confusing and how we can clarify them. To illustrate scope ambiguity further, let's look at the sentence, "Every student read a book." This can mean that there is one specific book that all students read, or it can mean that each student read some book, which might not be the same for everyone. In summary, scope ambiguity refers to the uncertainty about which parts of a sentence are affected by certain words, especially quantifiers and negations. This results in multiple valid interpretations from a single sentence structure. Understanding this concept can help us communicate more clearly and effectively.